Have you ever felt your chest tighten and your breath catch when someone walked into a room? Not because they were the most beautiful person there, but because something invisible and electric seemed to pulse from their very being, making every nerve in your body suddenly awake to a frequency you could feel but never name. Your rational mind scrambles for explanations while your body responds with an ancient knowing, a visceral recognition that bypasses all logic and strikes directly at something primal within your core, leaving you wondering if you are losing your grip on reality, or finally touching something infinitely more real than the polished performances that surround you daily. You are not imagining this gravitational pull. You are not being overly dramatic about the weight that settles in your chest when certain people enter your awareness. You are not losing your mind when your skin seems to recognize someone before your eyes have even properly focused on their face. These bodily whispers carry intelligence older than civilization, messages that travel through channels your conscious mind was never taught to decode, yet your nervous system receives them with startling clarity, creating sensations that feel simultaneously foreign and deeply familiar. The disconnect between what society tells you should attract you and what actually makes your pulse quicken creates a painful split between your surface social self and the deeper currents that move through your being, leaving you feeling isolated in experiences that feel too strange to share, yet too powerful to ignore. You have witnessed this mysterious alchemy, where someone possessing no obvious advantages somehow commands attention without effort, radiating a presence that makes others lean forward unconsciously, drawn by invisible threads to something they cannot articulate or resist. Your body knows the difference even when your mind cannot explain it, responding to authentic wholeness with a settling sensation in your bones, while recoiling from manufactured sweetness with a subtle but unmistakable tension in your gut. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung dedicated his life to mapping these hidden territories of human connection, revealing that what you have always sensed in your deepest intuition represents one of the most profound truths about how souls recognize and call to each other across the vast spaces of social interaction. What you are about to discover will validate every strange attraction you have never been able to explain, every inexplicable recognition that made you question your sanity, revealing the hidden architecture of magnetism that operates far beneath the realm of strategy and technique. Imagine the unconscious as a vast underground ocean flowing beneath the surface of your daily existence, its currents carrying messages written in a language older than words, shaping every choice you make about who captivates your imagination and who leaves you cold. This ocean contains what Jung termed archetypes, primordial patterns embedded in the collective human experience, universal symbols that emerge from the depths to influence our most intimate encounters without our awareness. These archetypal forces operate like invisible threads connecting souls across time and space, creating moments of recognition that feel like coming home to a place you have never been, explaining why certain faces in a crowd seem to carry echoes of ancient memories. The most powerful of these forces, Jung called the Anima, the feminine essence dwelling within every masculine psyche, a spiritual counterpart that remains hidden until awakened by someone who embodies its qualities in the physical world. When this inner feminine is stirred, it creates a resonance that transcends ordinary attraction, generating what Jung described as a feeling of destiny, as if two souls have been searching for each other across lifetimes. The anima operates through what Jung called projection, where internal psychological content is unconsciously transferred onto external figures, creating experiences of profound connection that feel mysteriously familiar, yet impossible to explain. This explains why men often say they fell in love without understanding why, describing sensations of recognition that bypass rational thought, touching something primal and immediate in their emotional landscape. The woman who awakens the anima within a man does not achieve this through conscious strategy or calculated performance, but through her ability to live in authentic alignment with her own deepest truth, radiating what Jung called the energy of individuation. Individuation represents the psychological journey toward wholeness, where fragmented aspects of the personality are integrated into a unified self that no longer requires external validation to feel complete. Those who have embarked upon this journey emit a distinctive frequency, a vibrational quality that speaks directly to the unconscious mind, bypassing surface appearances to touch the soul itself. Before we venture deeper into these hidden realms, take a moment to subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell, because what we are exploring together represents a profound investigation into the mysteries of human connection that could transform how you understand yourself and others. And in the description below, you will find additional resources to support your own journey of psychological discovery. The frequency of authenticity cannot be manufactured or imitated, emerging only from those courageous enough to face what Jung called the shadow, the collection of rejected and denied aspects of personality that most people spend their lives avoiding. The shadow contains everything we have been taught to hide: our anger, our sadness, our raw desires, our unpolished edges, all the parts of ourselves that society deems unacceptable or inappropriate. Yet Jung discovered that true magnetism emerges not from denying these shadow aspects, but from integrating them into a complete and honest self-portrait, creating individuals who radiate the rare quality of psychological wholeness. When someone has embraced their shadow, they no longer project false perfection or manufactured sweetness, instead embodying what Jung called the transcendent function, the ability to hold opposing forces in creative tension. This integration creates a presence that feels simultaneously powerful and peaceful, challenging and comforting, mysterious yet trustworthy, activating deep recognition in those sensitive enough to perceive authentic wholeness. The shadow integration process requires tremendous courage, because it demands facing aspects of ourselves that feel dangerous or shameful, venturing into psychological territories that most people avoid throughout their entire lives. Yet those who complete this journey discover they no longer need to perform versions of themselves designed to win approval, instead operating from what Jung called the self, the deepest center of psychological identity. From this center, they emit what could be described as an energetic signature that cannot be confused with anyone else, a unique frequency that draws compatible souls, while naturally repelling those who operate from superficial levels of being. This explains why certain individuals seem to effortlessly attract meaningful connections, while others struggle despite conventional attractiveness or social skills, because authentic magnetism operates according to laws that transcend surface characteristics. The process Jung called active imagination provides a pathway for exploring these unconscious territories, allowing individuals to dialogue with the hidden aspects of their psyche through symbol, dream, and creative expression. Through active imagination, people discover that their unconscious contains not only personal material, but collective patterns shared by all humanity, archetypal images that carry universal meaning across cultures and centuries. These archetypal patterns include the Great Mother, representing nurturing and creative power, the Wise Old Man, symbolizing knowledge and guidance, and the Divine Child, embodying potential and renewal. When someone has established relationship with these archetypal forces through inner work, they carry a depth of presence that others sense immediately, even if they cannot articulate what makes this person different. The archetypal dimension adds layers of meaning to human encounter, transforming simple attraction into experiences of mythic significance, where meeting another person feels like participating in an ancient story. Jung discovered that those who resist archetypal influences often find themselves unconsciously controlled by them, acting out patterns they do not understand, while those who consciously engage these forces gain access to tremendous creative and relational power. The Anima, as the archetypal feminine within the masculine psyche, seeks expression, through relationship with someone who embodies its qualities without losing their own individual essence. This creates a profound paradox, where the most attractive presence emerges from those who need nothing from others yet offer everything through their authentic being. The Jungian concept of psychological types reveals additional layers of how unconscious forces shape attraction, suggesting that people are drawn to those who compensate for their own one-sided development. The thinking type may find themselves mysteriously attracted to feeling types, while intuitive individuals often gravitate towards sensate personalities, creating relationships that offer opportunities for psychological completion. These unconscious complementary attractions explain why logic alone cannot predict compatibility, and why the most profound connections often occur between individuals who seem mismatched on surface levels. Jung emphasized that authentic individuation requires embracing both masculine and feminine principles within the psyche, regardless of biological gender, creating individuals who radiate psychological androgyny. This inner marriage of opposites produces people who feel complete within themselves, yet remain open to deep connection with others, operating from abundance rather than need. The difference between operating from abundance versus scarcity creates entirely different energetic signatures. With abundant presence, drawing others like a flame attracts moths, while needy energy repels even when disguised as perfection. Those who have achieved inner marriage between opposing forces emit what Jung called the transcendent function, a quality that allows them to navigate paradox and complexity with grace. This transcendent quality explains why some individuals seem to possess an almost magical ability to remain centered during conflict, to find creative solutions to impossible problems, and to inspire others simply through their presence. The cultivation of this transcendent function requires what Jung called the opus contra naturam, working against natural tendencies toward one-sidedness and unconscious identification with partial aspects of personality. Through this alchemical process of inner transformation, individuals develop what the mystics called presence, a quality that encompasses the totality of their being rather than merely surface personality traits. Presence operates according to energetic principles that most people never learn to recognize, creating fields of influence that extend far beyond physical boundaries. Those who have developed authentic presence discover they no longer need to pursue connections or opportunities, instead finding that life naturally organizes itself around their centered being. This explains why certain individuals seem to live charmed lives where synchronicities occur regularly, and meaningful encounters happen effortlessly because they have aligned with deeper currents of existence. The cultivation of presence begins with what Jung called the confrontation with the unconscious, a process that requires tremendous courage and commitment to truth over comfort. Through this confrontation, individuals discover that their greatest fears often guard their greatest treasures, and that the very qualities they have spent lifetimes hiding may contain the keys to their deepest fulfillment. The journey toward authenticity demands releasing attachment to who others need you to be, and embracing the often uncomfortable truth of who you actually are beneath social conditioning. This process of psychological archaeology reveals layers of false identity that have accumulated over years of trying to fit into systems that demand conformity rather than celebrating uniqueness. These false layers are stripped away. What emerges is something Jung called the diamond body, a core of being that cannot be corrupted by external circumstances or damaged by others' opinions. From this diamond center, individuals radiate a quality that others recognize as real, even if they cannot define what makes this person different from those who merely perform versions of authenticity. The diamond body represents what Jung considered the goal of human development, the achievement of psychological sovereignty that allows someone to remain themselves regardless of external pressures. This sovereignty creates a magnetic quality that operates without effort or intention, drawing others who recognize the rare gift of someone who has refused to abandon themselves for acceptance. The process we have explored represents only the beginning of understanding how invisible forces shape human connection, how ancient wisdom can transform modern relationships, and how the courage to face your shadow can unlock levels of magnetism you never imagined possible. The integrated individual moves through the world as a living paradox, simultaneously complete within themselves yet magnetically drawing others into their orbit, creating connections that feel less like meeting a stranger and more like recognizing a forgotten aspect of their own soul. And understanding this phenomenon requires exploring Jung's most revolutionary insight about the hidden forces that govern human attraction and the profound difference between those who seek love from emptiness and those who embody love as their natural state. The psychological landscape shifts dramatically when someone has achieved what Jung called the marriage of opposites within their own psyche, where masculine and feminine energies no longer war against each other, but dance in harmonious union, creating individuals who radiate a completeness that others can sense immediately, even if they cannot articulate what makes this person so compelling. This inner marriage produces what Jung described as the transcendent function operating at full capacity, allowing someone to hold contradictions without breaking, to remain centered during emotional storms, and to offer others the rare gift of being fully seen without judgment or agenda. The woman who has achieved this integration moves through social spaces like water, flowing around stones, effortlessly navigating complex dynamics while maintaining her essential nature, never contorting herself to fit others' expectations, yet somehow making everyone feel more authentic in her presence. Jung observed that such individuals operate from what he called the self rather than the ego, meaning their actions arise from a deeper source of wisdom that transcends personal desires for approval or control, creating interactions that feel nourishing rather than draining to all involved. This self-directed existence explains why some people seem to live in a constant state of synchronicity, where meaningful coincidences occur regularly and the right opportunities appear at precisely the right moments, because they have aligned with currents of existence that most people never learn to perceive. The phenomenon Jung called projection becomes crucial for understanding why certain individuals become unforgettable while others fade from memory. Because when someone encounters a person who embodies their own unlived potential, the meeting activates archetypal layers that create experiences of recognition, spanning far beyond surface personality. When a man encounters a woman who has integrated her own inner masculine through shadow work and conscious development, she no longer needs him to be strong for her, instead, inspiring him to discover strength he never knew he possessed, transforming the relationship from codependency to conscious partnership. Similarly, when a woman meets a man who has embraced his inner feminine through emotional development and spiritual awareness, she feels safe to express her full range of being without fear of overwhelming or threatening his sense of masculinity. These encounters between integrated individuals create what Jung called the hieros gamos, or sacred marriage, where two complete beings choose each other, not from neediness, but from abundance, generating creative energy that extends far beyond their personal relationship. The difference between hunger and fulfillment becomes evident in countless subtle ways that the unconscious mind detects long before rational thought can analyze the situation, creating immediate impressions that determine whether someone feels drawn toward or pulled away from another person. Those operating from hunger unconsciously broadcast signals of desperation that others perceive as energetic weight, a subtle demand for validation that makes even casual interactions feel exhausting because the hungry person needs something the other cannot give. Conversely, those radiating fulfillment emit what could be described as psychic lightness, a quality that makes others feel more expansive and creative in their presence, because fulfilled individuals offer space for others to explore their own authentic expression. Jung's concept of active imagination reveals how individuals can consciously dialogue with their unconscious content, rather than being unconsciously controlled by it. Developing relationships with their inner figures that transform projection from an automatic reaction into conscious choice. Through this inner work, people discover that their strongest attractions often point toward their own undeveloped potentials, explaining why someone might feel mysteriously drawn to qualities they have never cultivated within themselves, yet somehow recognize as essential to their wholeness. The integration of shadow material becomes particularly crucial for women, because cultural conditioning teaches them to suppress anger, ambition, and sexual desire in ways that create false personas designed to win approval rather than express authentic nature. When a woman reclaims these rejected aspects of herself through conscious shadow work, she develops what Jung called the animus function, an inner masculine energy that gives her direction, courage, and the ability to act decisively in the world without needing external permission. This integration creates women who inspire, rather than threaten masculine energy, because they have resolved the internal war between their own opposing forces, allowing them to appreciate masculine qualities in others, without needing to be rescued or protected. The process Jung called circumambulation describes how psychological development occurs through circling around core issues at increasingly deeper levels, rather than resolving them once and for all, explaining why authentic transformation requires patience and commitment to ongoing inner work. Those who have completed significant circumambulation cycles radiate a quality of psychological density that others recognize immediately, even if they cannot explain why this person seems to carry more presence than others, who might appear equally accomplished on surface levels. The cultivation of what Jung termed the diamond body represents the ultimate goal of individuation, where someone has integrated their contradictions so completely that external circumstances can no longer destabilize their essential nature or force them to abandon their authentic expression. From this diamond center, individuals naturally attract what Jung called their psychological complement. Not someone who completes them, but someone whose own integration creates opportunities for mutual growth and expansion that neither could achieve alone. The energetic field generated by integrated individuals operates according to principles that transcend ordinary social dynamics, creating attraction based on compatibility of being rather than compatibility of personality traits or lifestyle preferences. This explains why the most profound connections often occur between people who seem mismatched on paper, yet experience immediate recognition at soul levels, because their unconscious patterns complement each other in ways that support mutual individuation. Jung's observation that opposites attract reveals itself most clearly in these deep attractions where thinking types gravitate toward feeling types. Introverts discover themselves drawn to extroverts, and structured individuals find themselves fascinated by those who embody spontaneity and creative chaos. The phenomenon of psychological compensation ensures that people unconsciously seek relationships that will challenge their one-sided development, explaining why comfortable relationships often lack the transformative power of connections that initially feel threatening or overwhelming. Those who have embraced this compensatory principle consciously welcome relationships that stretch their comfort zones, because they understand that growth occurs at the edges of their familiar territory, rather than in the safety of the known. The development of what Jung called the transcendent function allows individuals to hold paradox without collapsing into either extreme, creating people who can be simultaneously powerful and vulnerable, independent and intimately connected, grounded and mystically aware. This integration of opposites produces individuals who feel both completely familiar and endlessly mysterious to those who encounter them, because they embody the full range of human possibility, rather than identifying with partial aspects of their potential. The mature anima and animus functions create internal relationships that no longer require external partners to feel complete, yet paradoxically make someone more available for authentic intimacy because they no longer need others to fill psychological gaps. When both individuals in a relationship have developed these internal partnerships between their masculine and feminine aspects, they create what Jung called the quaternary structure, a stable foundation that can support tremendous creative expression and spiritual development. The final stage of individuation produces what Jung described as the emergence of the self as the new center of personality, replacing the ego's narrow concerns with a broader perspective that serves both individual development and collective evolution. From this self-centered position, individuals naturally become what Jung called wounded healers, using their own transformation to support others' journeys toward wholeness, without attempting to fix or save anyone who has not chosen their own path of development. The recognition between two individuals who have achieved significant individuation creates moments of profound communion where masks dissolve and souls meet directly, generating experiences that feel both intensely personal and universally significant. These meetings remind participants that beneath all surface differences lies a common humanity seeking expression through countless unique forms, and that authentic love serves the evolution of consciousness itself rather than merely personal satisfaction. True magnetism emerges not from perfection, but from the courage to embody your complete humanity, shadows and light united in service of becoming who you were always meant to be.